I would say, first of all, anyone who is active and is making a change in the world or is doing anything influential to their country or the planet, at one point they were not doing that. Before this, I was a professional complainer. I would read New York Times all the time and just read Yahoo News and just say that really sucks. That really sucks too. But I couldn't do anything about it, I thought. And but what I did have was I had my mind open. Like, if I see something, I'm gonna do it. And I didn't actively search for it, but it's when you see an opportunity to get engaged, you can take it. And with that, there's no limit to what you can do. And also, it's about not thinking how can I get there. You think, what can I do right now? So, because often what you do right now will lead to something else, and that leads to something else, and eventually that may get you there. But to think, I don't know how to get there right now, as a reason not to start getting active, that's not a great reason. And of course, one thing people could do more than what I did is seeking opportunities to do that, looking for it, asking who the activist in the school is, what they're up to, getting involved, and just knowing that they have something to offer, and don't think that you don't have anything to offer, because everyone does.
We never expected, I can tell you with full honesty, on the morning of March 24th, I was like, who's actually going to be here? And I saw the stage being prepared, I saw all the people start coming in, and then as it started to get to 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 5, upwards of 1 million, like, that's when I was like, okay, this is real. Let's do this.
And just the knowledge of, there were marches all over the world. I mean, we had marches in every single continent, including Antarctica. Like, what?
We can't see all of it, too. We have yet to see every time we travel to a new place or hear from somebody new, they'll show us a video of their walkout. They'll show us a video of them at the march. Like, I saw an inspirational speaker from Providence, Rhode Island that I would have never met if not for all the actions that we had done. And it's just crazy to see how large this is, and how yet it's still small, because it's still only a handful of people actually pushing things, doing things. But then when we get the volunteers, when we get events started, thousands upon thousands of people start coming, and it's made a difference. I mean, we've seen 100 laws passed.
It's absolutely crazy. And no, we never thought it would be like this. I remember the first week we were planning like 90 people, and then I remember Bill Nelson, our senator from our state of Florida, came over because he heard on various news outlets that we were planning a march of X amount of people, and he says, well, how many people do you guys think you're gonna have at your march? 200? And we the truth is we didn't even know. Maybe. Yeah. But no, it was absolutely absurd. I mean, being on that stage and seeing how the amount of people that came, and just when we travel around the country and we just see everyone knows what we've done, and so many people are getting involved in areas of the country we thought there was no way we could touch or make a difference in, and people are talking about local laws they've passed and how their entire communities have changed. And although that doesn't necessarily translate to federal laws being passed, I mean, we are changing people's lives, and it's crazy. I mean, there's some.
We could go on and on forever with it. We'll do a few.
Yeah, I mean, there are little things here. I mean, there are things we could have changed that are very kind of structural and more they wouldn't make that much sense.
Logistics.
A lot of logistics we could have changed around, but a few things. It's hard for me to think about what we do different, because we really lit a spark that I wouldn't want that spark to have been lit any differently. And I know, there are some things, I personally think there are certain legal things we could have done differently, but all in all, I'm actually pretty satisfied with what we've been up to, and we're still plugging forward, and we have a big future ahead for the organization, and I see a lot of expansion going forward.
The only thing that I'll say that I wish we did differently was realize that expansion while it was happening, because being in the center of all this, it's really hard to see the reaction from the rest of the world. It was really hard to see how other people were feeling, what they wanted to do, and we didn't really contact a lot of the other organizers until 1 month after, 2 months after, because there were so many of them that we were just trying to organize it all, and if we put a little bit more effort towards that, we would have a stronger system going into this election. But right now it's still phenomenal seeing some, like, in states and areas that a lot of people consider unwilling to change or unwilling to work against gun violence, areas that are deeply rooted in traditionalism, in just accepting the status quo. These regions had some of our greatest turnout, and if we realized that while it was happening, we would be able to do so much more.
So I can answer this question with an example. So basically, there was a big Supreme Court fight recently with at the time Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and he has been terrible on all gun issues. And in our minds, we thought if this guy gets confirmed, common sense gun reform is dead. That was what was going through our head. And so for so long we were like, what can we do to influence this? How can we make a difference? How can we raise awareness for how poor he's been on all of these issues? And at the end of the day, he was confirmed because that's the way the bureaucracy is set up, and there was nothing we could do about it. And there was maybe an hour of sadness and everything, but the truth is all anybody can ever do is what they can. And the worst than anything, worse than the country doing something that you don't want them to be doing, or laws being passed that you don't believe in, or your bills being blocked, is the feeling of I could have done more, or I could have made, I have regret is the worst feeling. Yeah. So as long as you are doing everything that you can be doing, you have nothing to feel bad about, and you just shouldn't have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Just know that, like, as long as you're doing what you can be doing, you're doing your part, and there are other people out there that are going to do their part.
Really, what I said earlier in regards to activism, just the fact that a lot of people think being an activist or trying to create change is something that is so large that they can't do it. And as individuals, there isn't much that we can do, but we have the ability to organize. We have the ability to come together. And when we are together, we have the numbers. Simply when the people actually are united and are speaking out on issues, eventually that change will come. And it's simply just making sure that you are speaking out, and even if it's not to a large crowd, even if it's to a classroom or just your friends or family dinner, if you are keeping these conversations going and making sure these issues are in front of people, because one of the biggest issues is when people stop talking about these issues, nothing is being done. So it's really just making sure those conversations continue, making sure that you do everything in your power, whether it's speak to your coworkers, your friends, your family, and making sure that they know what's going on. And as long as you do that, you're doing everything in your power as an activist without really going out of your way.